Good evening, good evening. King's back in the house. Hey, Ken, I can't get over the Spartan circumstances that the upstairs is in now that I've shipped everything out. Just got a good message back from Larry Gessler, confirming that he had submitted his purchase of shares. Good evening, Chuck Ritter. How are you? Guaping? Maybe I'll start this public surface message. Hey, George and Joseph. Good, good, good. Getting all the good guys in here now early. So you may know, you may not know, but Angel and I are both spent school studying business, and we both were in business our whole lives. But Angel was more of an accounting guy, and I was more of a marketing and branding and entrepreneurship guy. But pardon me. Um, Angel came to me and he said, "Okay, so we've got the list of all the buyers and we've got the list of the contributions and he's verified the bank accounts and all that stuff. Hey, Mark. Hey, Trish. Um, but he asked me to ask you guys because particularly at the end of February, we're going to make the first issue of distributions based on winnings, and he asked each of you to send an email, if you would please, to the Kings Club email, list your name and your address and the number of shares you have purchased. Now, Angel wants to do that independent of me because he wants to do an accounting cross-reference to make sure we're all on the same page. And I told him I would ask you guys to do that. That will help us immensely, and that will help him validate the information I have given him, validate it independently, which is a nice way to do it. So, because we're all in this together, that would be very helpful. If you would all just take some time out, send an email that says, for instance, as Gordon Parker, Larry Gessler, Gilbert Rary. You could say, all right, since Larry Gessler just came in today. So, Larry, here's what we're going to ask you to do. Just send an email that says Larry Gessler and your address and the amount of shares you purchased. Now, you and I both know how many, but this way the angel will be able to make his spreadsheet and he'll be able to build it with accuracy. Michael Steinfeld high. So I'll be making this announcement a couple of times for the guys that aren't on right now, but sometime in the next, whenever, it doesn't matter. There's no rush on it, but fire out an email that says Michael Steinfeld, the address and how many shares you bought. Patrick Doms, the address and how many shares you bought. And this way, Angel's going to make a precise spreadsheet for us and track everything that goes on. And the only thing that I would tell you is it's really interesting. I never had any kind of nerves at the table before. I probably told you this before, but I've never had any nerves at the table before when I'm playing my money. But it was interesting when I began to feel like it's a little bit of pressure because now I got somebody else's money in my hands, and it's like, holy Christ! But things went well again last night, and it was really no issues. I played six hands and got to 200 and I didn't have any problems or anything with a commission because the hands that I won were two hands, $100 hands, both on both on a player, and so the player hands just put me up plus 200, and I moved along and put the money in the account, and so we're going to continue to build, and we're going to pay dividends and decide what we want to do with everything as a team. Good evening, JP. So JP, you as well. For everyone out there, Angel's putting together a spreadsheet of an independent validation verification like an accountant would do. If you would send your name, address, and how many shares you own to the Angel. It'll be independent of me, and then he and I are going to cross-reference and make sure we're okay. If there's any exceptions or holy crap, what's that? We will be looking at that. But good evening, everyone. I, I, names are a funny thing. We got all good names here, but names can be funny things. And I saw Fort Wayne, Indiana, has a mayor that they were pretty fond of some years ago. And somebody has decided to name a center in the town of Fort Wayne. And Fort Wayne's a bigger town than people think. It's way up north, but it's a large town geographically, and it's also one of the larger cities in Indiana. But oh my gosh, this guy was not blessed with a good name, but they're still going to name this center for youth in the town, and they're going to name it with this guy's name. And so the name of the center is going to be the Harry Balls Center. And I'm not kidding you. It's going to be called the Harry Balls Center. And now the balls is spelled Baals, but since it's pronounced balls, I don't think it matters. I just think, when you got a name like that, but back in the Air Force, I was back in the Air Force days some years ago. A guy walked up to me and we wore those blue name tags, and I'd never seen the guy before, but he was a new guy going to work in my staff. And his last name was Liquor. Liquor. It said that right there on his name tag. And when he shook my hand and told me his first name, it was all I could do just to look at him. And he said, I know, but that's really my name. His first name was Dick. I said, you just can't do this kind of stuff, but names are tricky. And so occasionally you get this kind of thing, but that's what went on. Now, listen, tonight, because I've had some, Corey did some playing, and Chuck does playing. So we're going to look at something tonight in a style of how you guys are playing, because you guys, sometimes you're sitting at a table by yourself. You can't sit out hands. You can't stand behind people because the table's not crowded. And occasionally I come into that too. And so you've got to do some adjustments. So I'm going to try to do some adjustments like that tonight. And I'm going to suggest that you bring as much money to the casino as you can. That's always the suggestion, as much money as you can, because if you get yourself caught up in a situation that that you need to Dell and Bear for a while, you may need some money. Doug, the real deal trucker, is on board, and how are you, buddy? Good to have you here. So I can talk some other things. If you guys don't remember Doug from our roulette days, he's been with us for a long time, and he is the real deal trucker. He drives a big rig all over the country, and it's always good to hear from you, Doug. The shares are available. We have as many as you would like. The shares are $250 each. I'm doing the playing. This is kind of a initial private offering kind of a thing, and you can purchase pretty much as many as you would want. But I don't think any person. Well, rather than putting a cap on it, I'll just tell you, a lot of people buy in for $250, Doug, one share. Some people buy in for 500, two shares. Others buy in for 1,000, and some of them have bought like $1,000 or 2,000, and then have come back in for other additional purchases, so they own more shares. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to play all the way up until the end of February, and the total amount of money that I have made is going to be divided by the total amount of shares that we have, and multiplied times the shares that you own, the person that owns. So if it comes out that the amount of money divided by the amount of shares comes out to X, you're going to receive your amount of shares times X. And we're going to talk about how we're going to pay it to you, because that's why we're getting everybody that buys in. I want you to send us an email with your name, your address, and how many shares you bought in for, because Angel's doing a private accounting away from me to validate what is reported versus what I have shown him. So I played strategy-wise last night. In briefly, I didn't buy in. I stood and I watched the games, and there were two banker wins, and I bet $100 on player, and I won. And then I went and I made a switch to banker and lost, and then lost again. And then I sat out and it switched back over to player. And I bet the the $200 down. I bet the 300 and won. And so then I had won two players that were positives for $200 ahead. So just playing black chips. Bought in at 1,000. I had 5,000 with me, but I bought in at 1,000 and I didn't have to go anywhere. And that's when you're lucky, that's the way it works. Gordon Parker, we are going to cap at a total of 100,000 because it gets a little unmanageable after that. 100,000 I have arrived at is the ideal amount of money we want in our account because we are right now at 24,000, so I'm counting it as 20, and so I'm going for $200 every time. As soon as we get to 30,000, I'm going for 300, 40,000, 400, and on up to where when we're at 100,000, I'm going to go for $1,000 on every session. I will be in Vegas then because I'm on the top of the palace right now in a Spartan situation. All the 3 bedrooms up here are empty. They've all been packed and sent. And so, yeah, we're planning to cap at 100,000. Thanks, Larry Gessler. Glad to have you. And that you know what we're doing. So I've always been a fan of independent accounting, and I demanded that of all of my business sections. And I like having 2 different accountants crossing without knowing what each other's doing to see do they come up with the same result. So holding this phone like this and seeing can I do something here, we're just going to go ahead and begin on player. And this is the kind of thing I'm going to talk to you guys about. Watching the bankroll, we're going to play, let's say we lose. We're going to play $25. We lose, we're going to repeat like a flat bet, okay, for Chuck to follow. We're going to repeat with a flat bet of $25. And if we lose that, we're down 50. So then I'm going to bet 50 on the third bet. And if we lose that bet, then we are down $100. And so I'm going to begin a D'Alembert after a chop at 200. So let's just see how it goes, and we'll bet $25 on the player right here. Obviously, we're going for $84,200 is what we want to go for. So in these situations, like winning that $25, I'm just going to go ahead and play a chop as we go and bet a 25 on the banker now and see what happens there. And if you get this chop going, you want to just go ahead and stay with it because, as I say, this is roulette without the zeros, but it's even better than roulette without the zeros because you don't have 18 blacks and 18 reds. You only got 1 black and 1 red. And can you imagine playing roulette like that? That would be, we'd run the casinos out of business. Okay, so let's bet $25 on the player. Since we won, we're up $49 actually because of the $24, the $1 commission. So we're going to bet $25 on the player. So now we're up $74. We're going for $84,200. This is the $25 banker bet. We've had 3 chops, but that happens in Baccarat. And then, of course, then sneaks in the long streak that we're prepared to deal with by sitting out. We're just going to play the dealing here with the banker for $25. And with that tie, we'll simply repeat the bet. Winning on these choppers. So we go to $25 on the player. We'll run into a problem here in a minute. It'll be all right. The problems are when you learn things. So now we're going to flat bet this with another $25 bet on the player. Second bet. Now we'll bet 50 because we're just trying to get those 2 bets back. If we lose this, we are down 100. Well, we won it, so that made us even. So now we go back to a $25 on the banker. I think for Chuck and Corey and for the rest of you, you see the value of that. I don't mind sacrificing the chance of winning at the sacrifice of safety. We played a flat bet 25, we lost. We played a fat bet 25, we lost. We played a martingale of 1 time to 50 to get even. And if we had lost that, okay, so we're down 100, the next bet is $200. And that's how you win 1 hand out of 4 and you're ahead. You're ahead $100. I'm trying to build these, the strategic of betting into what we're doing. So you can ask questions or write me about this, but I like this. This came out of what Chuck was talking about his game the other night when he won $250, really nice and solid. But this is the plan for safety, and this will work particularly. Got to keep in mind, I'm looking ahead. I'm looking ahead for when I'm betting $1,000, and I'm very careful with your money. How can I guarantee things as best I can, knowing that it's a casino, knowing that it is a game? How can I try to protect your guys' money and deliver good dividends to you every month? This is almost like my life's work right now. And this might be a good time to say, as we go forward, I'll be just leaving King's Club behind, because I'm not going to be in the business of trying to run King's Club where people come in and pay $3.99 and I try to show things. I have more allegiance to you guys and our IPO. So now we are the King's Club and you are the shareholders in the company, and I've got to be protecting you. We got $25 on the banker here. That's our entry bet. And a tithe there. And with that win, you could see that it paid $49. Like I said, there are tables that don't charge the commission. What they do is they play a game that's called the 7. If the dealer ever wins with a 7 and you have bet the dealer, they give you a push. They don't give you the win. And that's the commission, the way they charge on the $25 tables with no commission. If I didn't lose myself here, if we bet 25 on the player here. So now we're up $147. We're $53 from our goal. We're going to switch back over to the banker for $25. And you can see how I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to you guys like we're in the company together, because this is what we've been growing together. So switch back over to the player for a $25 bet. And now we're going to repeat the bet because we're flat betting. Excuse me. And with that win, we broke our money back. We got our bet back. So now we go to 25 on the banker, trying to write a chop. We're going to repeat the $25 bet on the banker. Now we did lose $1 on that swap because of the commission, but we're still okay. We're going to bet $25 on the player. Matter of fact, I'm going to bet 30 on the player because of the position that we're in. And there's the $200. Now, I'm not wanting to overstate this on how easy this was tonight, but we did play a full series of hands. The bet selection in here, Patrick, is we start opposite the last win, just right here. We have a player win. So we would begin our bet with a flat bet 25 on the banker. If it loses, we bet again 25. If it loses, we bet 50. If that loses, we bet the 100 plus another 100, 4 units up, and we're in the D'Alembert with 200 on the banker. If we do lose another one, then we sit out and wait for a chop, and we restart where we were positioned with the D'Alembert. if the banker wins at any point, very dry up here tonight. If the banker wins at any point, then we move over to the player for the chop, and you saw how it chopped tonight. But now that I've got everybody here, please like this video tonight. I'll be back with you tomorrow night, and we'll discuss future strategies. But for right now, fire us out an email with your name and your address and how many shares you bought in at, so that Angel can do his independent verification. And if anybody else wants to grow their holdings, Zelle me, fire me out a check. Anybody wants to join in that's not in now, Zelle me, fire me out a check. And we'll make sure everybody's in, and we'll keep growing. And I appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. We do want to continue the prayers for Callie KB. I mean, this is the most remarkable situation in a bad way. King Brett Morton out in Sacramento. He had a terrible situation with his wife, Nicole, about a month ago. And doggone it, she didn't pull through with flying colors and come back great. And then a week ago, Kelly KB got an infection, internal infection, stomach infection, and ended up in the ICU, operations, had sepsis. And so we are praying for King Brett Morton every day. And he does have another operation still to go. There's high hopes. We pray to God be with him. And for all of you, thank you so very much. Like the session. Ask me any questions. I'm going to show this exactly again tomorrow night. And maybe we'll run into some trouble tomorrow night, as tonight was pretty easy. We never even got into Dell and Bear. Yes, thank you, Richard. I am better, even though it's so dry up here in the top, because I've changed the humidity level up here because nobody's up here. And then I come up here for a half hour, and this is what happens. So thanks, Michael. Send it. Trish, thanks. Good night. Love you all. Hit a like on the session leaving if you would, please. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. And just so you get one look at the Ugly King, here I am. I'm still good, as best I can be.